All right, hey friends, it's Sage here, and I've gone radio silent for a little while. I posted some things on my Substack, but I haven't been doing my noon 12-minute meditation. I hope to get back to that, and part of the reason I've been pulling back is I've been giving more attention to my kind of inner alignment and the balance between giving and receiving that I recognize has been out of balance in me for a long time. I wonder if that balance of giving and receiving has been out of balance in you. My sense is it is out of balance for most of us. That the society we've created, the expectations that we hold, the ideas we carry around about what it means to be human have for a long time created a lot of imbalance, where some people are really framed to be receiving, others are shaped to be giving, and then maybe there's a few in the middle who kind of get that balance right, but it has yet to be my experience that this world and the stories that I carry in my mind about how I am meant to operate in this world perpetuates imbalance. I wonder if you sense that to be true for yourself. And so there's a reorienting happening inside of me, because what I have come to know deeply is that to thrive in life, to be of use in the world, to be faithful to the gift of life I've been given, so to be faithful to God, which has always been my aspiration. To do that effectively, I have to be attentive to this balance and to finding that balance and nurturing that balance and doing the hard work of noticing and naming when I am in balance. And a big part of how I notice that is the rise of feelings of resentment and anger towards others for not giving me what I need. I wonder if that's also something you can relate to, that feeling of resentment, of not being appreciated or cared for in the way that you feel you need. I've been sitting with a lot of those feelings lately and really kind of reviewing my life and the story of imbalance, the story of kind of the ups and downs of experiencing imbalance and reorienting and then out of orientation. And I think on some level, and maybe this is how it operates for all of us, we ping between getting, giving. I mean, who knows? I can see those big swings in my own life of entering community and giving of myself, of then kind of retreating inward and needing to kind of focus on what I need. And they've been these big swings between kind of generosity and sharing, and then how it shows up for me, that pull inward usually in my history has shown up as phases of depression, where all my energy has moved inside. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired of that roller coaster. I'm exhausted by it. And so perhaps on some level, I've been on a little roller coaster trip this last week, pulling back my energy to give it inward and not putting as much of my energy into external expression and giving to others. Perhaps that's a little bit of a roller coaster ride that I've been on. I don't know that we get to just like immediately get off. But because my intention and my desire is to not ride that roller coaster anymore, I have made this choice intentionally, and I'm now doing the work of noticing myself making it and trying to learn from it so that I can move forward with more balance. Heaven is a state of balance. Heaven is a state of freely giving and receiving what we need. And that is so unfamiliar to us on this planet. This is perhaps why we have such strong beliefs that heaven is someplace way up in the sky in another realm, not something we could experience here and now, because we're trained in imbalance. And I am a part of a spiritual tradition that believes if heaven is anywhere, it's got to be also here and now. That welcoming in states of heaven here and now is what makes the potential, the future possibilities of heaven a reality for us after we leave this earthly existence. That our task in life is to get in touch with this heavenly experience now, to do everything we possibly can that we might experience bits of heaven now, to invite heaven into our own hearts. And if we invite heaven into our own hearts, we can then experience it in the external world here on earth and or in a realm of eternity. You know, that's all to be revealed. The tagline for the Helen Keller Spiritual Life Collaborative has been the same since we first cast the vision, and it was cultivating a bit more heaven here on earth. It's our kind of first mission statement. We chose to be kind of humble in that, cultivating a bit more heaven, you know, not heaven on earth in a totality, because whenever we try to do something as a totality, we tend to kind of be tempted by those domination impulses that live in us. So that is kind of a recipe for overreach. But if we can focus every day, and this is my intention, and this is why I'm sharing this story with you about the last week for me, if we can focus on cultivating a bit more heaven in here, which I would suggest is related to a bit more balance between giving and receiving, so that you're getting what you need and you're giving what you have to offer. That as each of us do that work, we make space for some more heaven to come in to our individual lives, and then also collectively, and as I like to speak it, collaboratively with others. Because if I'm taking care of that little bit of heaven inside me, I can heal some of this resentment, which we all could probably agree resentment is not a great terrain for building and collaborating with others. It's not very useful. And this is why forgiveness is so much a part of this journey. So if resentment's showing up for you as it has for me, I invite you to wonder about it. Wonder about how it might be pointing you back to that need for balance. Is the need to pull back a little bit and give some more attention to yourself? Is the need to express more and to give more and to share more? Where is the imbalance showing up for you? And I would encourage you to consider that this imbalance is baked in. That the way out of this imbalance is not to kind of follow the old formulas or to like look to kind of the inner critic that's telling you you're doing everything wrong. That story in your head has been formed by these earthly material stories, and that there's something much bigger and more real going on, which is the realm of God, the love of God, the spiritual plane, and or just what actually is true, what actually is happening in this life experience that we're having, beyond the earthly, cultural, human stories of separation and limitation. That there's a bigger story going on that includes everyone and everything, and that is totally connected. There's a bigger story going on, and the human story of disconnection and separation and competition and domination, that those stories, those are fleeting stories. They are not connected to the ultimate reality. And so they will kind of always lead us astray. They'll always lead us back into imbalance. And if you're watching this, if you're interested in the Swedenborgian Church or the call of building a new world that Helen Keller, imagined with diversity and justice, if you're listening to me, my suspicion is you also know there is something way, way bigger going on and way more important than these limiting stories, that it's time for a new way of being, a new paradigm, a new world, a new heaven, a new earth, a new church, just something new, something deeply new that's been calling to us for a long, long time. Love your neighbor as yourself. We've heard these messages before, right? But now, what does it mean to really live them, to love our neighbor as ourselves, to love ourselves enough to care about whether we have balance inside, whether we are tasting heaven, to care about the experiences of disconnection that we feel, and to wonder about that. It's time to really live as if these spiritual principles we've been taught for a long, long time are actually true, are actually what's going on right now. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being on this journey. If you're hearing me again and you saw that I was away and then you're hearing that I've returned, I thank you for giving me that grace to do what I need to do to find my own balance. And I pray, I deeply pray. I know the work for me is always asking for help, asking for support, stepping back, taking time for myself. These are not things I'm inherently good at. And maybe there are things that you're not inherently good at. I mean, maybe that's part of what's emerging next, is some humility for us all to name. Like, I think we all actually kind of struggle with similar stuff. We're different, we're unique, but we all are growing up in a similar earth culture, a similar human culture, with some diversities, but also some pretty similar ingrained stories. So maybe I'm not the only one, and maybe the journey I'm going on is similar to yours, and maybe that's why I'm now making this video, so that you can experience it. And maybe you're going to do something that I'm going to be able to experience, and that some collaborations are already starting to emerge, and I pray that they will just start to exponentially increase so that we really can do something new together. That is my prayer. That is my wish. That is my desire. May it be so. All right. Blessings, friends.